AV folks to make sure we're up and running and good to go. I'm getting the high sign, yes. So we'll go ahead and get started now. Calling the meeting to order at 8:06 of the Quapaw Nation Business Committee regular meeting for Saturday, November 19th, 2022. And at this time, would you please stand with me in a moment of prayer, if you are able. Intate wakonda ejinke. Gunage intate humpade. Gunage witsiko me humpade. Wikidi andagane. Yikuda. Jutse. Wakpani O-gah-pah nika shige. Father God, thank you for this day. Thank you that we could come together as a business committee to take care of the affairs of our tribe and our people. I ask that we speak with open hearts and open minds this morning, and we come together to take care of this business for our people. And Father, I ask that you be with those who are in mourning and in grief right now as we come into these holiday months. It's a hard time for those that have lost our loved ones, and so I just ask that you comfort them, be with them, and blanket them in your love, and be with us today as we proceed with this meeting. And I ask for traveling graces for everyone going back home. And thank you for our veterans, and thank you for our elders and those that are still with us today. Look down upon us. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Gunage. At this time, we'll do a roll call. Ms. Secretary Treasurer.
Member Newton?
Present.
Member Turley? Zach? Thank you. Secretary Treasurer Supernaw, present. Thank you, Zach. Chairman Byrd?
Present.
Vice Chair Bowden?
Present.
Member Shawnee?
Present.
Member Mercer?
Present.
Quorum declared.
All right, thank you. Next up, reading, correction, and approval of minutes from our October meeting.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do I have it?
Well, the next one, it was a tribal member seeking financial assistance for a personal matter. And I believe that was for $500, and that was approved as well. This next one was it was to increase the salary cap for the BC executive assistant position, and that was approved as well. And the next three were presented by Shauna Greery, our Family Services Director, and they were for adoption approvals. And there was three of those. So those were the next three. And they were all approved. I'm sorry.
So the next one is a resolution to submit the ICDBG application for 2022. That one was approved. The next one is a foam pole to demolish the old OLC, unfortunately, due to an ongoing mold problem that was unsuccessfully mitigated. That was approved. The next one was an employee donation due to a house fire to assist her and her family. And there was a call to drop off donated items such as gift cards or cash to the HR office. That was approved. The next one is a purchase request for a QSA water truck at a more appropriate capacity to suit their needs. That was approved. The next one is a services contract discontinuation. We have gone through a comprehensive view of a lot of our consultative agreements, and this one was approved to discontinue that contract. The next one is a TIPO approval of exploratory ventures. The most important thing is that as a part of this agreement, they agreed to provide Quapaw Nation access to the site and conditions for treating any objects or remains that may be inadvertently encountered. It's tough to say this early. It was approved. The next one is, again, to discontinue services with Capital Ventures at a prospective date, and that one was approved. Joseph, do you want to take the next few?
We have the Quapaw Nation Cancer Committee. Sorry, I'm reading from the agenda here.
I'll go ahead and take it, Chairman. The next one was for the Quapaw Nation Cancer Committee donation, and that was to donate a themed basket, and that was approved. The next one was a job description approval for the Executive Department of Public Safety. I'm just going to lump these. There was also an Executive Director of Culture and Events job description, Executive Director of Quapaw Facilities Authority job description, an Executive Director of Tribal Member Service job description, and an Executive Director of Resource Management job description, and all of those were approved.
Sure. Okay, resolution 5159, tribal member relinquishment was approved. Resolution 5160, ARPA tribal member distribution. That was approved. Bill 5170, purchase of property from Miami Special Utility Authority, formerly KDF Enterprises. That was approved. And poll 5201, Empire District Electric Company easement on Central Mill property. That was it's approved as well. Poll 6698. Quapaw Native American Church Devil's Promenade Chapter Fall NAC meeting donation was approved. And poll 6785, Christmas bonus increase, that was rejected due to the timing of the request, came in after budget approval. Poll 6896, Quapaw Nation Forestry Assistance Waiver and Release of Liability Form was approved.
Okay, thank you. And at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve those polls.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the matter? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? And the motion carries. The phone polls are approved for the month. And now we'll have the treasurer's report listed in your packets.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries and the treasurer's report is approved. Directors and subcommittees reports submitted. If there are any chairs or any representatives. Yes, Miss Gracie, I'm sorry, I didn't even see you. There's a big guy in front of you.
The COVID monies and some checks on that were sent out. And so also then we have December 17, Downstream is hosting our Christmas dinner for the elders. And so we're looking forward to that. But just to thank the Quapaw Nation for all that they're doing for the elders, we very much appreciate it. And we'll keep in touch.
Thank you, Gracie. Can I ask you to share, just so everybody else knows, what time the elders' Christmas party starts on December 17th? Do you know?
If we're following as we did last year, at 5 o'clock will be a gathering time. Excuse me, gathering time. 6 o'clock dinner. And
Okay.
along with that, then there will be the dinner at 6, but then there'll be entertainment. We're not sure what all is going on, but for people to know as well, when we plan our elders events, whether it's a trip or whatever, we're looking at our elders who are age 65 plus. Invitations are going out on that. So just come, have a good time.
And I think we have something extra special lined up to gift the elders this year. So we encourage everybody who can attend to come on out. And while you have the mic, while I have you on the hook, can you give a little summary on the elders trip that took place this past month?
We had a wonderful trip. We got the reservations and we took one bus. And there were 42 people on the bus. We left from Downstream and we headed west. And so we went to Woolaroc. And for those of you who have been to the Woolaroc Museum, they have changed it. It's modern, more modernized now, and the exhibits and everything. We spent time there. And from there, then we went to Pawhuska, and we had lunch there. And for any of you, particularly the women who are into Pioneer Woman, okay, that's the place to be. So we had lunch there, a lovely lunch, and we had some shopping. We boarded the bus, and then we headed towards Norman area. Between Moore and Norman, there's a Chickasaw Casino Hotel, and that's where we stayed overnight. So we had a meal there, and after that, we spent the night, and the next day, we went to the First Americans Museum, which was quite a treat. We very much enjoyed. Most of us had not been there before. And so there are some Quapaw things there, of course. The work is in progress there. So if you do get a chance, do go to the First American Museum. And from the top of a mound, you can look towards Oklahoma City, and it's just a beautiful panoramic scene there. But work is in progress there, but it really was quite a place. So, and then we stopped off at Cracker Barrel in Tulsa on the way home, and we got everybody back. Everybody, the 42 who went, the 42 who came back.
That's good.
It was a good trip. And thanks so much to the ones who really worked on it, and that would be Debbie and the ones who worked with her, and certainly Rhonda. I mean, it was a good trip. I mean, for those who were there and for the helpers. Oh, we just had a good time. And so thank you for that. And we're looking forward to spring. We're working on that. So we have something else in mind for spring. But this last trip was really good. So again, gonna gay.
Gonna gay, Gracie.
Chairman, do you mind if I add to the elders
Yeah, please.
Christmas really quick?
Please.
Just so everybody knows, just to repeat it, it is December 17th. The social is from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. and dinner is served from 6 to 8. This year, we need you, if you're going to attend, to RSVP. You can do that through email at rsvp@quapawnation.com, or you can call the office. And we ask that you have that done by December 12th. I cannot speak today. The Monday before the dinner, please let us know if you're going to be there, so we'll make sure we have plenty of food. And Santa will be there. So thank you.
All right. Thank you. Good report. Anybody on Zoom? Maybe from the Constitution Committee? No? Okay. Okay, that's fine. Well, we're going to go ahead and drop down to the chairman's report. Oh yeah, good call. Thank you, Ms. Secretary Treasurer. Before we get into that, we need to approve the directors and subcommittee reports submitted. So I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries and directors and subcommittee reports are approved. Now we'll drop down into the chairman's report. So on October 22nd, we had a special general council that convened at the pavilion at Downstream. And the purpose of the meeting was to amend certain sections of the governing resolution to better address our current position as a tribe. There was and approved. Those amendments that were approved will be placed on a ballot to be voted on at a later date. A special general council will continue in January to address those remaining amendments. I would encourage anyone curious about these amendments to go and watch the video of the council. Additional information can also be found on the nation's website as well as the Quapaw Post. I'd like to acknowledge the efforts of the Constitution Committee for helping facilitate this necessary reform of our government. I would especially like to thank Roman Cahiga, Mans McKibben, and Johnny Rogers for volunteering their time and energy during that council session. And then I'd also like to thank all our tribal members who attended both in person and virtually. Your participation is important in this process and will continue to be important moving forward. There will be more details to follow, and I was trying to give a brief summary because I was thinking Roman would be here, but I think that pretty much sums it up, I would say. November kicked off Native American Heritage Month, so I'd like to wish everyone a happy Native American Heritage Month this month. We've had several events celebrating our rich heritage with more events to come before the month ends. On November 10th, the Culture Committee sponsored a nice veterans brunch here at the community building for all tribal employees of the nation and honored them with gifts in recognition of their service. It was a really great event, and BC was all there in attendance. On November 11th, the tribe hosted a really nice veterans dinner for all tribal members that have served, and attendees received gifts and were treated to an evening of entertainment and fellowship. I'd like to thank all of the people that were involved in that as well, including members of the BC. On November 15th through the 17th, in recognition of Rock Your Mocks, a 3-day moccasin making workshop was taught by Heather Dismuke and Mariah Tyner for all area youth. and we'd like to thank both of them for their time and efforts toward this community event. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that tomorrow's date for the gathering, November 20th, the Cultural Committee is sponsoring a fall gathering, and there will be lots of events for kids, games, and fun for everyone. I believe dances will start at 6 p.m., supper will be served at 4:30, and doors open at noon. And the fall gathering will take place at Downstream Pavilion, so everyone is invited to come out and enjoy some fellowship. And then on Monday, November 28th, the tribe, in partnership with Tyson Foods, will be distributing food from 9 a.m. to noon. I believe it's at the EOC, located by the Quapaw Casino. And this distribution is open to all tribal members and is limited to 1 box per family. This is also open to any elder from another tribe, so long as they have a ticket from their own Title VI program. Did I say that right? Okay. You will need to show your tribal ID, and it's my understanding that once we run out, that's it. So be sure to get there on time, not Indian time, regular time.
Some of them are working and not able to be there. Another person, as long as they have their tribal ID, can pick it up for them.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And the Intertribal Buffalo Council selected Quapaw Nation as the host site this past week for its annual national convention. Representatives from over 70 different tribes from across Indian country convened at the Downstream Casino Resort this week. We were honored to have the opportunity to showcase our Buffalo Herd program as well as our beautiful facilities. Special thanks to Mike Shawnee, Sean Ellick, Joey Gibbswater, Corey Scott, and everyone else who sung our traditional songs throughout this event. And I apologize for any names that I may have left out. November 1st also kicked off the latest round of COVID relief distribution. I believe this was discussed at our last meeting, but just to reiterate, elders can receive $2,000, adults $1,500, and children $1,000. Applications can be filled out on the Quapaw Nation website. They can be emailed or they can be mailed into the tribal office. The deadline for these applications is December 31st, so please apply if you have not already done so. And I'd like to give a special shout out or thanks to the accounting department for facilitating that process. So thank you. On December 6th, as was mentioned, no, I don't think it was mentioned. On December 6th from 6 to 8 p.m., the business committee will host a town hall discussion on how to best utilize the remaining ARPA funds. There is approximately $10 million remaining after this latest distribution, and we are interested and want to hear your feedback. So we'll be collecting input from our members on how to best put that money to use for the benefit of the tribe. All tribal members are encouraged to attend. The meeting will take place here in the community building, and again, that's December 6th. 6 to 8 p.m., and I believe we had invitations sent out and may have already been hitting mailbox by now. So Downstream Casino, just as a summary, September 2022 ended the fiscal year, which was the second best year in the property's history, with 2021 being the best. From December 2021 through September 2022, $108.9 million in debt has been eliminated. For the first time in the 15-year history of the property, there is positive equity on the balance sheet of Downstream, and that's really a testament to our position within this market, our executive leadership that operates the facility, but then also it's a testament to the employees and their hospitality and their service and It's really an amazing time in the history of that property over there. Dropping down to Saracen, the Saracen property continues to realize the benefits of the refinance that occurred last December. For the last 9 months, Saracen has saved $25.3 million in interest expense. This interest savings will begin to decrease in the upcoming months based on rising interest rates. But overall, the interest savings will continue to still be significant. Sportsbook finished the year in the black, and our mobile wagering, Bet Saracen, continues to produce solid EBITDA. We have become the leaders in the Arkansas market, specifically in mobile sportsbook, outperforming our competitors by double and triple their revenues, their win. There was a question, I believe 2 meetings ago, and then it was brought up again last meeting on our billboard advertisements for the Arkansas market. As many of you know that have traveled to Pine Bluff, and for those of you that haven't, our main market that we pull from is the Little Rock area, the Little Rock metro area. And if you go through there, we have high visibility digital boards throughout the metro area, which cycles monthly with whatever our promotions and our giveaways are for the month. We do not heavily invest in interstate billboards, primarily for 2 reasons. One is we are without a hotel, and so we are less likely to capture that stop from travelers that are traveling up the interstate. And the second reason for that is the money that we'd spend on expensive interstate billboards that may catch somebody who might stop once. We spend that on Little Rock area billboards inside the city, and that again is the majority and our bread and butter, so to speak, in the market. So I think those are all of my reports, and I'll have more stuff in open forum, but that's all I have for now. Dropping down to the accounting report, Mr. Eric Boone.
Good morning. So October began our fiscal year 23. October, we received revenue of 1.6 million. Our expenses in October were 2.1 million. Tribal member health benefit expenses were 367,000. Social services expenses were 222,000, and education expenses were 63,000. In October, we received a $300,000 distribution from our tribal enterprises. ARPA update. I think we've gotten most of the applications. I know some of you are probably still waiting for that check, and we are working diligently to get those through the system. We've received 3,198 applications. We have completed 2,122 of those applications, so we're 66% of the way there. And this is through, 13 business days is all we've been working on these. So we are on track for trying to meet our goal of 20 business days. With those 2,122 applications completed, we've mailed out 2,358 checks, and we have 650 checks ready to go out Monday and Tuesday. So our total checks that have been entered have been 3,008 checks. And that is, so of the checks mailed, it's $3.2 million. I anticipate, based on our last couple distributions, that we'll end up somewhere around that 5,000 check mark. So like I said, we are working on it. We've got, November and December is busy months anyway without this. So, appreciate your patience. We've gotten a few calls, but we're working on it, and you should be getting it here, by the second week of December if you've sent it in. Those 2,100 applications that we've completed, that's only through the applications through November 4th. So as you can imagine, November 1 at 12 a.m., applications started rolling in. When I got here at 5:45 that morning, we had 1,500 applications. So it was a little overwhelming in the beginning to see that number, but we were working away at it. So does anybody have any questions?
Eric, I did have a question. I know that for this round of checks, there was a new capability rolled out that gave tribal members the access to submit an application basically on their mobile phone.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit at all about how that went?
That online application has been utilized greatly, which helps us greatly because it's less paper that we're having to deal with. It streamlines our process, makes it easier to keep things in order, and move them through the system more efficiently. So, of those, let's see, of those roughly 3,200 applications received, 2,700 of them have been through that online application. So we really appreciate that being utilized. Again, it just helps us keep things in order. So.
Just a call out. I know Chairman mentioned this, but this is an example of outstanding teamwork between technology, your whole team in accounting, as well as Steve's whole team. So thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Good report. Thank you. Dropping down, we've already approved subcommittee reports and directors' reports, and we heard from Gracie. We're going to go to directors' reports. So, Title VI, Ms. Rhonda.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Rhonda with the Title VI and Caregiver Program. We had a busy month in October. We did a health fair at the Indian Clinic and car bingo. We had 207 people attended. We did a health fair at the Bearskin Fitness Center. We had 388 that attended that event. Our Halloween party at the Title VI, we had 9 elders that were in costume, and it was kind of cute. And we did foot care in November the 4th, and we had 10 people that came in for that. Carla from the Indian Clinic comes over and does that for us. We had our biggest event is our Thanksgiving dinner, which was November the 16th. That day, we had 84 that came in as Concord meals that ate. We had 26 adults that have paid, 1 child, 144 carryouts, and the carryouts is the ones that come into our drive-through or come in to pick them up, and our 80 that we do homebound. We had 17 volunteers, and the total was 346 that we served that day. We want to thank Downstream and the Business Committee. They provided turkeys and food baskets. We had 150 food baskets. I sent 50 turkeys and 50 baskets on the route. I had 100 turkeys and 100 baskets to pass out. I had some turkeys that Quapaw Casino had gave me about 2 or 3 months ago, which was about 35 to 40, and we ran out of baskets, but I was able to get those turkeys, and there was a few that didn't get them that day, and we happened to look in the walk-in and found some that we didn't know we had that was stuck in the back, and we were able to give out the turkeys that didn't get any that day. So it was a big event. Does anybody have any questions?
No questions, just a show of gratitude from us and all of your hard work and your department's hard work to be able to feed that many people. That's really awesome.
Thank you.
And
I have a great team. I have
yes,
an awesome team. And I want to encourage everybody to come out November the 28th for the food drive or for the food distribution. 40 pounds of chicken. It's going to be awesome. So,
it's going to be awesome and it's going to be cold.
yeah, yes, definitely. So,
Well, thank you. We're looking forward to it.
thank you.
Okay, good report from Title VI. Next up, Library and Museum, Miss Patty Billings.
Karen was unable to make it today, so I am going to read her report first, and then I'll give the libraries. So, Karen sent her report. She said, I'm unable to attend due to 2 appointments already set up on the November 19th that could not be changed. I have been very busy with several activities with the Cultural Committee. We recently held the Veterans Employee Brunch on November 10th at the Community Building. We had a pretty good turnout, and it seemed that everyone had a good time. I don't think anyone left hungry. We have been getting the final touches done on the fall gathering, which had held on November 20th, which will be held on November 20th at the Downstream Casino Resort. The Cultural Committee is sponsoring this event. In December, we will be holding a Christmas open house here at the museum. It will be on Sunday, December 11th from 1 to 4 p.m. There will be refreshments, door prizes, and music. I also serve on the ATEC board and will be holding our annual Winterlicious event at the Farmers Market on December 9th from 9 to 3. There will be craft vendors there and our delicious homemade candies, cookies, and cakes for our holiday entertaining. Other than that, it's just been regular day-to-day activities here at the museum. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at any time. Gone Gay, Karen Hildreth. That is the report for the museum. Now, on to the library.
One question. Can you repeat that ATEC date one more time for me, please?
Absolutely. The ATEC date for the Winterlicious,
Yes.
it is December 9th
Thank you.
from 9 to 3 at the Farmers Market.
While we're at it, can you repeat the December 4th event?
December 4th will be from 1 to 4.
And that's just a music.
That's the Christmas open house.
Okay.
And that's going to be at the museum.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. The library is doing very, very well. Things are getting back to normal after all of the COVID and all things that have gone on. We are getting got several activities going on coming up in the future. We have had 2 different pottery classes. We've done seed pots. We've done shields, which very, very good turnout. Library checkouts have increased. They're doing very well. We are now up to a little over 1,000 patrons at the library. The online book checkouts have done very, very well. We are having people sign up on a weekly basis for that, which we're thankful for that. The little library is doing very well. Karen and I both attended the ALTOM, which is the Association of Tribal Libraries Museums Conference in Temecula, California, in San Diego, whereby I presented at the conference, and I loved doing that. I loved letting them know what the library does, what we have to do, our programs and things. And it's also nice to get to know what other libraries across the states are doing. And so that was really good. And it's nice to know what programs they're doing as well. I always come away with ideas what they're doing and things that we can incorporate into that. Some things that are upcoming events at the library. We've got a baby moccasin class coming up December the 4th, which we posted the class. It filled up within a day. I mean, the class limit, we could only have like 15 because there's only so many that we can take because of class instruction. Within a day, that class is full. I've got a waiting list now. So that Jean Ann Blaylock, a Quapaw tribal member, is teaching that class. That should be a really fun class. We also have story time classes coming up with the OLC. That's starting up again. We also have one thing Krista Pierce, education director, and I are working on. We have been working on it and trying to get a STEAM fair going. I am very, very pleased to announce that this year it is going very well. We now have over 20 entries in our STEAM fair, and they're all from all ages, from kindergarten clear through high school. And we have, at last count, we have 23 entries, and we're not done yet, because I talked with Mrs. Compton, the principal at the elementary school, and she told me, she said, I've got more coming. So that is going to be February 20th at the Wellness Center, so we are very, very pleased with that. We've also got more pottery classes coming. We are also working on a special project where we are, as well as the moccasin class, we are filming classes. And so we are going to have them on video so that people that cannot attend the classes can then later come into the library and they can check out on video and watch the class. And so I have got a list of about 12 different Quapaw artisans that are going to be filming their craft and having it on film there in the library, all the way from beading to pottery to moccasin making. We've had a lady that done corn husk dolls. So we're having a variety of different things that they can check out, artisans. So I'm very, very pleased about that. So any questions? No? All right.
Great report,
Thank you.
especially on the STEAM fair
Yes.
front.
Yes.
It sounds like since we're able to meet in person rather than virtually, it's increased the
It has.
participation. So that's wonderful.
It is. It is.
Good.
We're very pleased.
Good. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have our law marshals, Mr. Charlie Addington.
Well, good morning, everybody. As the Marshal Service, as well as some of the other programs you've heard, have been extremely busy over the last month and actually over the last year. Just some of the numbers for the last month of October, we seen a 437% increase over reports submitted the previous year during the same time. And for the fiscal year of 2022, which of course run from October 1st to September 30th, overall, we've seen a 283% increase just the first year after the Lawhorn decision occurred. So as you can tell, things have been really, really busy, and it continues to be. As you can see, I think in September and October, both, we had a close to a 400+% increase in calls for service and reports submitted. Couple of things that we're excited about. We was able to get a CTAS grant, COPS grant from DOJ for about $730,497 to help us bear the cost of replacing some vehicles and equipment that some of our vehicles is really high mileage, and we're seeing a lot of maintenance on those vehicles. But we was able to get that DOJ grant so we can offset some of those costs. And we'll be able to buy some vehicles with that, as well as some TrueNarc devices, which is some devices that will keep our marshals safe from handling any kind of illegal narcotics, which fentanyl is out there. And if you touch it with your hands, it can kill you. These devices will actually allow the marshals to, if they find drugs, which we do all the time, not only at the casinos, but out on the job, they'll be able to stick this device up to a bag or whatever that illegal narcotic is in. It'll be able to test that for them and tell them what that is without the marshals ever having to get a sample out of the bag to test it. So it's going to be a huge tool for those officers out in the field to keep them safe as well.
Can I interrupt you there?
Yeah.
Probably wait till after your report, but I may lose it if I don't. Fentanyl. You hear about meth frequently, but fentanyl seems to be the new drug of choice. And I'd like to know more, or at least give a brief summary as to what our officers are encountering in the field. Are they seeing it actively within our own jurisdiction boundaries, and how does it what's the comparison between that and meth?
Yeah, both methamphetamine and fentanyl both is being shipped into the United States from Mexico. So both of those drugs are still very high prevalent. But fentanyl, it takes so much less to get the high. Just the amount that would be on the end of a pencil will kill you. So what they're doing is drug dealers are lacing other pills and other things with fentanyl to try to get a bigger high. Well, when they're dosing that up, of course, when they're making drugs, it's not an actual science. They're not weighing things out. So there could be a bad batch that comes out where you see a lot of overdoses where people think they're using just a regular amount of drugs. But if it's laced in fentanyl, it can actually overdose somebody. That's the reason we have the pens and stuff, so we can actually the nasal spray to bring people back if they overdose. But we are seeing it in this area as well. It kind of comes and goes in spurts. It depends on what the supply and demand is and what's coming in to this area. And I one of the things that you all probably seen, I think I sent it to you, was the big case that we had from the California kingpin out there that was bringing drugs in from Mexico and was shipping it all across the United States, which some of that was coming to our area here. So we are seeing fentanyl. We're still seeing meth as our prominent drug of choice, mainly in Indian country across the United States. So fentanyl is out there. It's like I say, it comes and goes. We see more sometimes less. Every year, it seems like the drug type that we see, sometimes cocaine will start coming back a little bit, and the next year it'll drop off. So it kind of fluctuates, but meth is always the number one drug that we see as well. But yeah, the fentanyl, you don't want to touch it. That's one of the things. Even someone out in the public, if they pick something up and it's got fentanyl on it and they get that on their hands and it's at lethal dose, it could actually kill them by touching it. So we try to make sure to tell everybody, if you see anything like that, do not pick it up. Don't try to touch it. Don't try to smell it or anything like that. Call one of us and let us come package it up so we do it safely, because you do need to make sure that you have fentanyl resistant gloves as well. There's actual gloves that's specific to fentanyl that will keep it from going through the gloves. So you need those type of equipment to make sure that you're safe. So, but we are seeing it, yes. It's not as prevalent here as you're seeing it in some of the big cities, but we do have reservations across the country that we're seeing large amounts of overdoses from fentanyl. So it depends on if you get a bad batch or not. So,
Thank you.
yeah. So, and then just one other thing, aside from doing the calls for service that we do all the time, the community policing piece is a vital role or vital part of what we do out there to make sure we got positive relationships with the community. And our marshals was able to participate in heydays and a couple of trunk or treat events that happened in the last couple of months, as well as we're gearing up for the Shop with a Cop that's fixing to happen here in December. We have about 60 kids from Commerce and Quapaw schools that will be participating in that. We'd like to thank Quapaw Nation's downstream and Quapaw casinos for their donations and their continued support with that event, as well as the Methodist Church in Quapaw, and Walmart actually is donating to it as well this year. So we're looking forward to that. We're going to take 30 students from each school. The first one for Quapaw will be on December 7th. So we'll be at Walmart with all the kids. We'll let them pick their supplies out and spend their money, and then we'll wrap those gifts and then get those delivered to those kids later on in the month. So other than that, is there any questions?
I asked my question. Anybody else have anything? No? Keep up the good work. Thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Good report. Next up from the tribal court, Miss Carissa Millard.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Carissa Millard. I'm the court administrator for the Quapaw Nation courts. First, I kind of wanted to give you a brief overview of what it looked like last year to what it is this year with the Lawhorn ruling. In 2021, there was a total of 78 cases filed throughout the year. 2022, as of yesterday, there's been 175 cases filed with our courts, which was an increase of 125%. Of those 78 cases from 2021, there was 34 of those that were criminal. Most of those happened right after the October 21st date. 17 protective orders and 27 different civil matters that were filed. Of the 175 cases that have been filed so far, 95 of those have been criminal cases, 29 protective orders, and 51 different other civil matters. In 2021, there were only 24 individuals that were held in custody. In 2022, there have been a total of 81, and that does not include the November numbers. So I think right now we have at least 6 to 9 that are sitting in custody right now. And without those November numbers, we're at a 250 or 240% increase from the year before. We have several future projects that we're actually working on right now. I was able to go out to Albuquerque this week with the Oklahoma Indian Legal Services. The Quapaw Nation Courts has been selected to be a pilot program for holistic defense. So we're looking at public defenders using more of a holistic way to deal with certain cases rather than incarceration, especially when we have cases that deal with mental health. That's one of the major issues that we're seeing is mental health and what we can do. The state of Oklahoma refuses to have an agreement with us to be able to use any of their facilities. So it's really an issue to getting individuals the treatment that they need. So that's one of our biggest goals, to use this pilot program. They're going to use this pilot program once it's through our court and use it throughout the other 39 tribes in the state of Oklahoma. So we're very excited that we were chosen, and I got the opportunity to go out to Albuquerque and sit through these conferences to see what this is kind of going to look like. Again, we're also working on mental health issues with those that are incarcerated and trying to figure out ways to better serve them rather than giving them time and sentencing them. One thing that's going to be happening this week and then through the first week of December, we're updating our court software. We have KelPro, but we're actually going to be moving to what the state system uses. That will allow for all of our cases to be viewed on ODCR, which is the on-demand court records. So if you have a case that you know and you want to check on, you won't be able to necessarily view the documents, but you'll be able to see when their court dates are, what a court minute said, and any filings that have happened. We're hoping to have that part of the software launched the second week of December. KelPro is actually going to be coming on November 28th and training us all on the new system and updating that software. We're also continuing updating our codes. Right now we're going through a big phase of the criminal codes, making sure that we're VAWA 2022 compliant. There were a lot of changes that happened on October 1st that we had to go ahead and be compliant with. So we're just trying to make sure that everything else within those codes are up to date, and any crimes that we didn't have that we're making sure are in those codes. Implementation of VAWA 22, there's been a lot. There are a lot of new crimes that are covered. We've been to multiple trainings to make sure that we are compliant with what needs to happen for that, so we can charge a non-tribal member who commits a crime against a native, especially when it comes to domestic violent related cases. We are working on with IT to get a credit card system so we can take payments by credit card either over the phone, and then hopefully in the future moving toward an online payment system as we start to have more individuals having to pay court costs and traffic tickets. We hope to get it pretty quick for traffic tickets because you can just call us in, get your traffic ticket taken care of rather than coming up to the court and just paying us cash, cashier's check, or a money order. One thing we're wanting to do is making all of our pro se court forms fillable rather than PDF. That way you don't have to print it off, hand fill it in. That way you can just go into a drop down box and then you can automatically send it to us. So we're going to be working with IT on trying to figure out the best way to do that. We had a feasibility study for domestic violence courts or court dockets to see, one, if we would be able to sustain a DV docket. It looks like we're going to be able to with the amount of protective orders that we're having. And we've also already filed 6 VAWA cases within the past 2.5 months. So we're looking at ways on how to do that. If that's going to be separating out those dockets on a different day than our regular dockets. I am working with the Tribal Justice Support and Trish Tingle to possibly host a training for prosecutors, public defenders, or judicial conference. This will actually highlight what we've done throughout our court system, because our BIA assessment came back really, really well. They had a lot of great things to say about the court and what we've accomplished. This way we can get people in to see what our court is doing, how things are going, and also have a training that brings in other tribes and possible state entities to talk about tribal courts. I've had a lot of questions on what kind of cases that we file through our court. This is something that my office plans on doing more public work on, so people are aware of what we can file. We of course file criminal cases, traffic tickets, child support, paternity, custody cases, divorces. We have deprived cases, and we have ICWA cases, delinquency, truancy, civil, small claims, guardianships, adoptions. Our marshals can do search warrants, and we can do extraditions. Our staff is a lot larger than what it looked like a year ago. I'm now the court administrator. We have a court clerk. Her name is Maricela Long. Julio de los Santos has actually taken on a new role. We have a department that is just juvenile affairs based. So anytime we have an individual getting in trouble at school, one of the schools, either Quapaw or Commerce, will refer a case to him. He'll review that and then decide whether or not if he wants to take it on the healing to wellness path, which is not really doing filed a case, or he'll do an inquiry to the DA's office, and then it'll decide whether or not we want to file charges. He's seen a huge increase in cases. I think he's got about 15 to 20 kids that he's dealing with right now. I know he just got a couple of referrals this week, so I haven't been able to talk to him about what all is going on with that. So we have a full-time prosecutor. His name is Justin Valentine. Within the past month, he was also appointed to be a SASA with the Northern District, which is, it's a big deal for us. He'll be able to go back and forth and work with the Northern District on cases that we have through the federal court system. Rachel Ray is actually his prosecutor clerk. We're in the position right now to hire a deputy court clerk and a probation officer, which the probation officer I'll talk a little bit later. We have 3 judges, Chief Judge Hammonds, Judge Gary Pitchlin, and Judge Andrew Casey. They are working their tails off. We call them all the time. We're actually increasing their dockets for the 2023 year because of the increases of cases. Judge Hammonds is going to go to 2 dockets per month. Judge Pitchlin, anywhere from 2 to 3. Judge Casey is going to keep his 2. And we've already preset 4 virtual arrest dockets to be set per month, averaging our dockets to go from, they were 1 in 2017, and now we're anywhere from 10 to 12 dockets per month. We do have a Supreme Court. We have Justice Greg Bigler, who's on that, Justice Darrell Dowdy, Justice Roger Wiley, and we now have a new contract public defender in GAL, and that is Ken Gallen, Jeremy Bennett, and Candace Brusso-Gasso. Like I said, our BIA assessment was really, really good. They had a lot of great things to say. When they come in, they're really looking at things. It's not an audit, but they're looking at things and giving us recommendations on things to change. So we're looking at that. With that also gives us an opportunity to go after more funding for the court. So we're kind of dissecting that and seeing what funding that we can get from them to better help and serve the court system. We did receive one-time funding for our judges for VAWA. We received $19,600. So we're going to be able to put that toward part of that DV court and a judge that's going to be dealing with those cases. We also did receive a CTOS grant. This is going to help us provide a service of a probation officer. It's also going to help those that are on probation who can't afford a drug and alcohol assessment, UAs, counseling service. If we need to do ankle monitors, it's going to pay for all of that within that grant. It's a 5-year grant, and we received $807,000 for that. So we're looking forward to adding another department and working with the marshals on this probation officer. Lastly, I was able to speak at the Oklahoma Bar Association last Thursday. It was a great opportunity. I was in front of a lot of tribal attorneys, and I got to speak on the technology in tribal courts and how we're moving to make things more accessible for all attorneys throughout the state of Oklahoma, or just other tribes and other states to look at. The main thing is how accessible we put our tribal codes out. We make sure that we have our dockets available online, and now with the ODCR, able to, for individuals to be able to actually look at our caseloads and things like that. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Carissa? I know that was a lot of information to kind of take in. What is your projected timeline for being able to receive credit card payments?
So I know that IT, we've been looking at the machines and stuff. I mean, I hope, fingers crossed, before or on January sometime, but I know that they're still looking at things and trying to figure out the best system. Because with that CalPro program, it'll actually can take the payment through there and process a receipt. So I think once we have CalPro in on the 28th, we'll have a little bit better idea of what we're going to be able to do.
Great. Thank you.
I did have one question. First, I think you mentioned there were 6 VAWA cases filed this year. I hope I asked this properly. Are those 6 based on charges that became applicable with VAWA 2022 or
2013?
I'm just trying to understand if you've observed an uptick because of the additional.
I don't know. I think the ones that we've really filed are all domestic violence related, which those are all within the 2013. We haven't really, to my knowledge, I haven't heard or seen of any that are any of the additional 2022 cases. Because there are about, I think, 6 new covered crimes under that, and it does give us a broader authority to charge a non-native.
You mentioned getting the award for this pilot program. Is that in partnership with Oklahoma Indian Legal Services? Can we expect more participation from them?
Yeah, we can. So I actually met with them and talked about a few other things. They just kind of randomly selected us. I know a couple of people in there, and they knew the kind of the work that we were doing. So they thought coming with a smaller court system might be the best way to do it. But we did talk about other programs that they provide, especially GALs, because their services are free. So that is kind of an important factor in it. So yeah, we definitely are going to sit down and talk about some other things as well. So
good. I'm hoping part of that conversation is for wills,
yes,
trusts,
yes,
estate planning, that sort of thing.
And I know we try to set up, will clinics the best that we can. If you guys ever need something now, call my office and I can get you that number, because they do all of the back end stuff. So they have you fill out the applications. They're the ones that actually do the work. So even though they don't come up here, that doesn't necessarily mean we can't get one done. So if you'll just, we can get you the number for that, and then you can call them and set up an appointment with them and do everything over the phone. We do adoptions, yes. So a lot of times that has to go through a court order for us to be able to do like a custody or. Okay.
The only thing, and I might be incorrect on that, but from what I have gathered is that each state has their own law on how you can get parents put on a birth certificate. Mm-hmm. And some tests are required that they have to be legitimate for that state to accept it. And then once you have that, you turn it in. It's a process. They can put the parent's name on the birth certificate, and then we can take it from there. That's just one process that I know of.
A lot of times you'll have to contact the Vital Statistics Service to see what the process is for them. Sometimes they'll want a court order. Sometimes it's impossible. Sometimes they can use family traces back, but it really, to get someone added on, a lot of times it has to go through the Vital Statistics and their process of how they are able to add an individual to that birth certificate.
One final comment. Congratulations on the award for that partnership on the holistic pilot program, as well as the what I would call exceptional assessment from the BIA and working to facilitate that. And then also the CTOS grant. Looking forward to great things to come. Keep up the good work, you and your staff. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda are donation requests. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's like,
My apologies. My apologies. Social services.
I don't like to talk anyway, so I don't have much after Carissa, but and I know I'm left 3 minutes, so it won't take that. But I just want to let you know that we are down quite a bit from last month. Last month we did 989 total, and so far we're sitting at 543. And out of that 543, 497 is the utility program. And I would like to thank you all for, I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but we have increased the utilities. Everybody gets $200 more. So now it's going to be $1,400 for 64 and under, and it's going to go up to $1,700 for the elders. And then we also have had a meeting not too long ago, and we decided to do the veterans one time a year instead of 4. So that way it saves a lot of paperwork and a lot of time. So when they apply this year, whatever they do, anytime during the year, they'll get the full $1,000 instead of doing it every quarter where they get $250. So that'll save a lot of paperwork and a lot of time. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot. I have been helping a little bit with stuffing envelopes for the ARPA. So keeping me busy as the time slows down for us. I have been working on the guidelines, and I think we're pretty much where we need to be. Need to get that approved when we can. I think I can send that all out after we made the few changes and then get that approved, and then we'll be done for the next year.
Great.
Any questions?
Any questions for Patty? No, I think we're all good. Good report.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I apologize again for skipping over you. Didn't mean to. Hopefully you don't have any hard feelings. And then while we're on the subject, Patty Billings, I want to thank you for representing this on the national level at Temecula at that conference. That's good stuff. So appreciate you. Thank you. Okay, now dropping down to donation requests. So the first is from the National Indian Head Start Directors Association. As the nation's leading voice for American Indian, Alaska Native Head Start programs. Head Start programs provide a model of success, addressing health, education, family, and community needs in a holistic manner. Frontline in the preservation of Native language and culture. And again, that is the American Indian Alaska Native Child Advocacy Fund in Norman, Oklahoma.
Do we know if we've ever donated to this fund previously?
Okay, so we have a brand new request. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to donate $500.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion as well as a second to donate $500. Any discussion on the matter? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries and the request is approved. And then we have the Quapaw Community Boosters Backpack Program. And this funds the backpack program and secret pantry for students in need at Quapaw School, scholarship program, teachers' classroom grants, and various community events throughout the year. There are currently 42 students at Quapaw School enrolled in the backpack program, and the average monthly cost per month is $860. But the cost for November and December will be higher due to the long Thanksgiving and Christmas breaks, which means more meals will need to be sent home to ensure the students have enough to eat over the breaks. Any donations we receive from the nation will be recognized at the Town of Quapaw Community Boosters Facebook page.
I'll make a motion to donate $1,000.
We have a motion to donate $1,000. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion on the matter? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries and the donation request is approved. And now we'll be going into closed session. Please, we'll get settled back in and reconvene from closed session. Ms. Secretary Treasurer, could you please give remarks for that?
Sure. So the business committee met with the tribal member on a personal matter and agreed to help.
Okay, thank you. And now we are going into open forum. Before I relinquish the floor, I just want to congratulate the Quapaw High School football team on a tremendous season that came to an end last night. Was not the result we were hoping for, but the Wildcats went 10-2 for the season with an impressive undefeated record at home and 6-1 in district play. From the players and coaches to the parents and grandparents, the community is proud to support their hard work this season. And I'd like to request of the business committee to sponsor a dinner to celebrate their achievement this season. I'll be reaching out to the school next week for details, and we'll get with everyone to iron that out. But just wanted to put that out there and say congratulations. And I believe there are 2 chairs of 2 different committees, one here present and then one virtually that we did not have the opportunity to hear from. So I want to put that back to them to give any remarks or reports that they may have. And I think Roman was wanting to say something. I think he's online now.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Chairman. Yes, good morning. Thank you, Chairman.
Good morning.
So the Constitution Committee has met last week. We are in the process of discussion. We are in the process of discussion. A business committee is what it looks like and what it is. What it looks like and what are going to the roles and responsibilities are going to unfold to be and how those are going to unfold. In that process, we have had a petition surface calling for the recall of the chairman. So we debated this, and we were trying to figure out which we're not ready for our purview, and which we're not ready for how to approach this as the privilege that was given to us by Special General Counsel on October 22nd to reconcile documents. So what we've discussed and what we'd like to do is put forth to the business committee that currently there is a petition being circulated, and it is providing false or incorrect information to those who may be signing the petition. It references a code of ethics from 1990, passed by General Counsel. That code of ethics was sorry, I hit the wrong button there. That code of ethics was superseded the following General Counsel in 1991. There were a few special General Counsels preceding that where the code of ethics was looked at by lawyers and determined by 2 separate lawyers, according to General Counsel minutes, that the Code of Ethics changed the governing resolution. So a process went into place for that to be turned over to the tribal lawyer the following month or the following meeting after the general council in 1991. The business committee determined that the document was null and void and that the resolution 070490 would automatically be tabled as a result from Robert's Rules of Order. That resolution was never taken from the table in any meeting after and is no longer in effect.
Roman, if I may interject, I've also
So we
been.
just wanted to share.
May
Go
I?
ahead.
I was just saying, I've been researching this ethics resolution as well, and I've been reading the meeting minutes. And what I'm reading is different than what you have, so I would like to follow up with you after this. My recollection is a little different, and I apologize if I'm wrong, but it was presented in 90. It was tabled. It was brought back up at a regular BC meeting. It was mentioned that it was potentially null and void by a lawyer. They were going to get a second opinion on that. And then I cannot find where it was discussed the following year in 92. So I'm still looking. If you've got something different, I would love to see it, but I am also trying to figure out the legitimacy of that conflict resolution or the ethics resolution. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to share that. I have found nothing either in the General Council minutes of 1992, which is where anything would have had been removed from the table.
It was voted on the following year. So 90, it was tabled. 91, it was picked back up with 2 amendments. And then at a regular BC meeting, it was actually mentioned by Carrie Wilson that it was null and void, and that came from a lawyer who specialized in Robert's Rules of Order. And I believe at that time it was mentioned that there would be a second opinion done, and I've asked around, and it doesn't exist to my knowledge as far as it going away. Now, there was a change in the chairman from J.R. Matthews to Lloyd Buffalo during that year, and that very well could have stopped the ethics committee that was created, because they also were talking about turning it into a standing committee. I don't think it went any farther after that, but the resolution was adopted by General Council back in 1991. Now, if it was superseded later, that's what I would like to see.
And I believe you have your 1 year ahead. So in 1990, it was adopted. 91, it was amended. And I'm looking at July 13th, 1991, the minutes is the meeting you're referring to. And being that the 1991 document was null and void, it triggers the 1990 document as being the prevailing document. However, Robert's Rules of Order would have automatically tabled that.
Again, I would like to discuss this and share our documents, because I'm going to disagree at the moment, and I apologize, but thank you. And I will admit if I'm wrong on this.
I'm just reading from the ones that are posted.
Anything else, Roman, on your report?
Can you please talk about the January meeting for Saturday and Sunday? Can you give a little bit of summary on that?
Sure. So what we'll be doing is going to complete the the agenda that we started on October 22nd or October 20th. And we'll continue reviewing the items and the proceeding in the exec session. So this is a continuation, as I understand it, of that meeting. Is
That's
that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Or are you reconsidering? Okay.
We're going to pick up the remaining amendments that were not discussed at the October 22nd, 2022. And we're going to pick it up in January. And this year, it's going to be a 2-day event. We're wanting everybody to plan for a 2-day instead of 1-day event. In the event, we can't go through all the amendments again. So hopefully we can on that Saturday. And if not, Sunday is going to be wrapped up. And that was January, is it 28th and 29th? It's a Saturday and Sunday.
Correct. And I wanted to also add to that, that since it is a continuation, motions to reconsider will be allowed after everything is, after the original agenda is completed.
So for clarification, are you saying that the motions that were passed during the October meeting, those can be reconsidered at this next meeting? Or just the second ones that we're going to, okay. So it will be on the ballot after the January meeting.
Correct.
Okay. Anything else, Roman?
No, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda, does that affect your report or? Thank you. Good morning.
Yes. Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hello, Roman. How are you this morning? Yes, I do agree with the things that have just been spoken. And just to highlight quickly on the election committee, in January, we will meet and we will set in motion the timeline for the annual election in July of 2023. The seats that will be coming up for the annual election is vice chair, which is held currently by Callie, and 3 members, which are currently held by Zach, Michelle, and Larry. Those seats will be coming up. Once again, we will be present for general counsel January 28th, and if it rolls into the 29th. And just to remind everybody, on petitions, there has to be a certain number of signatories as well as verification of those and a time frame to present those to the enrollment as well as the election committee for verification. And then at that point, they would go back to the BC. So that kind of just summarizes those things. And if there's any question, you guys are welcome to ask.
Any questions for Linda? While I have you, I overlooked you earlier in the agenda, but I thanked Constitution Committee for their part in facilitating, and I just want to extend that to you and your committee for facilitating those votes. I know there was some technical difficulty, some challenges that we overcame. I think we did a good job of hanging in there. You guys did a good job, so I just want to say thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay. If there's not any other questions, I'll be seated. Thank you.
We got a question from the audience about bringing donuts. And I think it was my first month as chair. I brought donuts to a meeting and I got scolded by an elder for encouraging diabetes. So I just kind of left it alone. We could bring fruit, apple fritters. Yes, Miss Gracie. Yes, we are. We are still in open forum.
Okay, thank you. I don't know that it was mentioned, and I wanted to be sure. We have the paramedic, and we also have our CHR. Now, with the paramedic, apparently there was a grant, and I think it was approved to expand their services. But we certainly want to thank the paramedic who does make calls, and certainly for our CHR for the work that he's doing. So thank you to both of them.
Thank you for that comment, especially in these cold months. You know, they're going around checking on elders, and I saw where they were doing a flu clinic maybe a few days ago. And so, yeah, that's a good service, and we appreciate those individuals and their service to the community.
This is Barbara Kaiser Collier. I didn't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I do. I received a very troubling audio, and I'd like to know if there's any truth to it. Audio of a business committee member having a conversation with an employee of his, and I'd like to bring that up and see if it can have some clarification. Is it true? Is it a true video or audio? Do you want me to be more specific? Chairman?
I guess my question is what true? Is there an audio recording that exists? Yes.
Yes. I received it. Wasn't from me. It didn't begin from me. I don't know where it began from. I don't know who did it. I don't know who made it. But it's been made public. And I'd just like to know if there's verification, if it's a true audio of a conversation by a business committee member. If it is, it's very troubling and very sad. And apparently there's others in the room that have heard the same thing. So
I will say that it is true that an audio recording does exist. And I will say that it has been turned over to the authorities, law enforcement, and it is being investigated and handled internally. But yeah, your question, if it exists, yes, it does.
Thank you.
Can you go ahead and give her the mic
I'm
so
here.
she can?
I couldn't get unmuted. So with it being handled internally, does that mean it's going to be hushed like everything else? I mean, we're all here today for a reason because we heard it. We know who the person is speaking on there. We know who it is. Voice is clear. The clarity is astounding. And to be perfectly honest, this has happened before. You guys record an audio no matter who it is, where they're at. So you acting like it's an internal thing and it's going to be investigated, but he railroaded the entire business committee that he was working with. He called out Callie and Michelle stating that they were John and Tamara. They were tyrants.
So before we go any further, I've never recorded anybody as a sitting business committee member.
Not you. Oh, no, this is for Mr. Zach Turley.
Well, you
I want to play that.
Excuse me. No, we're not going to do that here. Because all of you have heard it. If it is. And
this isn't
not
against
not
none
only
of you.
not only is it open forum.
This is against one person.
I'm here.
by
I
what
can make
he
a statement
stated.
on this.
You know what, Zach? The fact you're not standing in here facing all of us is an embarrassment too. You are an embarrassment right now, and I don't care. And you know who's talking to you.
Actually, can you state your name?
For the record, it is Abigail Josephine Panther Logan. For those who don't know, roll number 2246, 0 F's given.
If you know about it, you have a responsibility too, I would say. Anybody that knows about it has that opportunity to file a grievance. You can file grievances on any one of us that's a sitting BC member. So again, I'll ask, have you filed a grievance? Have you okay? Have you confronted them? I am charged. You elected me. I've been elected by a majority of our tribal members to chair meetings. And that is what I am doing today, and attempting to maintain a certain level of decorum and respect for one another as we speak on this floor, in this council. Yeah, I'm not playing games right now. I'm not playing games. Okay.
Can you make sure your microphone is on? People cannot hear you.
So is he being reprimanded right now? I mean, it's a serious offense, but he even said, and it's disrespectful to my family and everybody that this is allowed. It's just ridiculous. I'm sorry, I don't have the right words to say, but he should be reprimanded. He should be fucking taken off the council. He just it's bullshit.
I mean, I appreciate what you're saying, and I do know that it has been handed over to law enforcement. So until they come back with a result, it's a pending situation. It's a pending issue. Well, the point is it's still ongoing, and we don't have the information to fully comment on that.
Anybody here? I don't.
It needs to be put out there because people on Zoom haven't heard it. There's people here that haven't heard it. Everybody needs to be aware of what's going on. Everybody needs to be aware of what's going on. It's your job. Have you filed a grievance because you know what's going on?
Well, you sent it to me, so you knew. When was that? You sent it to me last night. So again, all 5,600, well, less than that, minus the minors, you have the ability to file the grievance.
You guys keep coming up here and saying, why haven't we filed a grievance? How many grievances have been filed, let's see, in the past 5 years that have not been investigated, have not been heard, have not been taken care of? How many grievances have been filed and then responses that we are given back is lip service? There is a reason why no one files a grievance. And if you want to know why they haven't filed a grievance, why she didn't file a grievance, why he, her, me, everyone here doesn't file a grievance, because we get lip service. there is no true investigation, no true way of doing things. Nothing is followed through. We are given lip service.
Since I have this mic, the grievances, when I was on the grievance committee, I have not been on there for the past year or so, but while I was on the grievance committee, my name's Mans McKibben, the grievances were investigated. We got several grievances. The grievances were investigated. They were looked into. Henry Ellick is also here with me. He can verify that the grievances that we received were looked into. We investigated. We took some to the BC. We met with the BC on one afternoon for a rather lengthy session of probably 3 to 4 hours. So the grievances we received, we did not take lightly. We didn't overlook them. We were not giving lip service. They were investigated. We looked into the grievances. Like I said, Henry and I and Laura, and prior to that, Sean Matthews, none of the people I've served with took their job lightly and just shuffled papers and threw them away. Everything we received was investigated, looked into, discussed. Henry and I and Laura and Sean, some of the grievances had no basis. People that want to file these don't do any research at times, and then there isn't anything to base further investigation on. So yes, I do take offense to somebody saying that I didn't do my job, because that's something I do not take lightly. So then I was also in line to speak on the subject of that petition. The resolution or ordinance that is cited in that recall petition cannot be found by the public tribal members. I've looked for it. Roman has looked for it. Everyone that I've talked to, a handful of people, it isn't available to everyone. So if that was available to everyone, then maybe it would have some basis. But as of right now, if you go to the tribe's website, is it available? And how was that obtained? If it's not available to all tribal members, how was that obtained and put into a recall petition if it isn't available for everyone's reading and knowledge?
When you do a search on the internet, those years are missing, and I've been working with Steva on it. I got a copy of that resolution and I sent it to her. It should be made available. It's a problem that's being fixed. It's just all part of the investigating part of it, trying to figure out its legitimacy. But I do want to speak on behalf of the grievance committee and the job that they have done. I do know when, Henry and Mans was on there, I do know that they did investigate grievances, and I know currently the grievance committee is investigating grievances against all of us. They're doing it in order. I guess there's a lot out there, but I just want to assure you that they are paying attention, especially Cuggy. He's done the most communication with us, and, we're open to that. And I just wanted to validate that, yes, they are, and they have been. Can't speak for the previous years, but over the last 4, I can attest to their work. So thank you.
Okay. And one last thing, I also received the recording, and it disturbs me as well. And I know there's processes and steps that have to be verified, but once this is verified that is Zach, are we going to ask for his immediate resignation? Is that something that you all will do, or is that something that us as tribal members need to do? Because it seems to me that wanting to take a tribal member out and push him off a bridge goes directly against the oath that you take. I would assume that
the way our current governing laws are written, we cannot force him to resign. We can ask him to resign. There is the grievance route, and then there is also the petition for recall route. I'm just trying to answer the question for removal.
Moral turpitude. I know it's not quite, I don't know,
The process has to be followed with the grievance, with the recall. General counsel will have to remove him from office.
Okay. 'Cause I know when Thomas was, I guess he just did that up on his own accord.
They,
when he resigned.
from my knowledge, they presented him with a letter, and he technically did not have to resign, but he did.
Okay. All right. That's just all I was asking. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And I do appreciate, I know that all of you up there, it's a thankless job and you get talked to terrible. And I know tribal members are concerned, but I think, you know, each of you, you couldn't pay me enough to do your job. And, you know, thank you all for serving us. You know, I don't always agree with everything everybody does and votes on and things like that, but at least you're taking time out of your lives to serve us. I appreciate it.
Appreciate that, Mans.
Thank you, man. John Landrum, 1832. I'm disturbed by the message that I was sent, but I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about my elders, and I'm here to talk about their living conditions, and I'm here to talk about putting something together to where we can go to our elders' houses, look them over, put a I don't know, a construction company together and say, let's go out here and fix this house. Let's go out here and put these walls up. Let's go fix this roof. Let's do something for our elders. That's why I'm here. I want to start something like that. I want to start something like that for my tribe. Am I able to do that?
I think that's a great recommendation, John. And I appreciate where you're coming from. I do. And I think that with this $10 million in ARPA funds, sounds like a very valid initiative to do with that money, because it's there. And I think that falls under, the allowances for that. I like it. And I think it's going to take some dialogue and discussion amongst the BC to really flesh that out and figure out and strategize. But I'll commit to do that. And I don't want that to be lip service to you. I mean that. Yep.
What about my grandmother's, my mother? What about people? Cry in their past. And who cares if they got a dog? Their baby. Everybody's got it.
Thank you, John.
Gunagay. My name is Grace Goodeagle. I served as chairman years ago, and over the years, I have seen the actions of business councils over the years. And I know some of the problems that the grievance committee has had recently. I served on grievance committee But we didn't have any really grievances at that time. This was some time ago. But now there is indeed a process that needs to be followed. And I was pleased when they increased the number on the grievance committee. But I would also appeal to you, we're all O-gah-pah. That's who we are. We need to care for each other. We need to respect each other, type of thing. And I also appreciated the report on the Elders Committee, because now there's a means for us to go forward on that. But getting back to this thing, there are sometimes things that can be resolved outside. Try to work it out. Even within your own family, you can try to work things out. But try to work things out. Because as it is, we might as well go on television or radio or whatever when we have a grievance. No, we're dealing with the tribal government that has been established, has been set up. We vote. We vote for our tribal members, our business committee members, and they take an oath when they do that. But I am saying that, again, I know of some of the problems in the past with the grievance committee. Yes, they did their work, and they presented their findings to the business committee. Now, those business committees in the past, sometimes action was not taken. So we're aware of some of that too. But I am saying with our tribal government as it is now, there is a process that we need to go through. But I am also hopeful that people will talk with one another, communicate with one another. I had not heard about this video until now. But again, please, let's be respectful to each other. That's what we need. Kind of gay.
Thank you, Gracie.
Thank Barbara Kaiser Collier again. Thank you, Grace, for those words. I was just sitting here thinking the same thing and looking at Henry and Manzi and some of those that have served on the grievance committee. I began working for the tribe in 1974, and over the years, the grievance committee has had many different people. Of late, they have had more grievances. In the last 20 years, more grievances have been filed than were ever filed before. Previously, in early years of the tribe, there were hardly any. There were hardly none. But now, because of things are busier, there's more business, there's more complications, there's more individuals, there's more opinions, that happens readily. But the grievance committees, I want to encourage, the reason I'm talking again is because I want to encourage the Constitution Committee to write into the Constitution a process for the grievance committee to have some after effect. The grievance committees now, they act, they work, they turn it over to the business committee, and just like Grace said, some of the business committees in the past chose to do nothing. When the information from the grievance committee was turned over to the business committee, they did nothing to follow up. They did nothing to help solve the problem, or some of the time they may have taken some action, but very few times. So there needs to be a process for the grievance committee to have in order to accomplish something, or in order for the general population, the general council, to know that they have followed up on their grievance and what they did for it. So that, to me, is over the years has been an ongoing problem, where once the grievance committee makes a decision and makes an opinion and gives the what their result was from the investigation, then sometimes nothing's done and there's no process to follow. So I encourage the Constitution Committee to look into that, because it's that's to my opinion, over the years, that's been the major problem.
Barbara, I agree with your opinion. As a person who has had grievances filed on them, it was interesting for me to see the process in action and to understand that with each grievance committee member, it may change. That process may change a little bit over the term. You know, you have new people coming in and they do it a little differently than the previous grievance committee. That is something that I picked up on as well. And I'm not saying it's I'm not saying that as a negative comment to the grievance committee. I think the grievance committee does what they can, what they've been allowed to do. And I think that goes along with your statement of having the Constitution Committee look into standard processes. That way it stays consistent throughout the years and it doesn't change at the whim of, every year that it has changeover. But I do agree with your comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's been brought up too. Reese has made a comment here that it would probably incorporate in that the access to a legal counsel if they need it.
And that was actually discussed at the special general counsel. That's part of the amendment to the governing resolution to allow them legal counsel separate, totally separate from the BC or the tribal government.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I just, looking back over the years, of course, like I said, I don't want to just repeat, but, we're into what's called big business now. And you all have a big chore ahead of you. I don't envy you that. I wouldn't want to do it. But the grievance committee also then looking at and investigating, and that's why I asked initially about the video, the audio verified. It needs to be verified. Of course, we can understand that we think we know who the individual is, but it needs to be verified that it's been turned over, as you said, to the law enforcement. If they can do that, then that's fine, and there is a process that needs to be followed. But even just filing a grievance, I mean, an individual can do that, but I think everybody knows what's at hand. And if the process is being followed or some process that you have taken to follow that, then just please let us, let the general counsel know what's going on and being processed, and then move forward from there. Thank you.
Barbara, I appreciate you allowing us the opportunity to let the process, take the process. It is still ongoing, and we will have to make a future determination. It's inevitable.
If I may add also, I would encourage you to attend the meeting in January, because the Constitution Committee indeed is addressing the grievance committee. It's been expanded, what our thoughts are. But January, hey, you have a chance to vote on that and other things too. But yes, the Constitution Committee is looking into that, and we'll present those things in January.
Thank you.
Chairman, may I? This is just part of the opportunity to, like Abigail had mentioned, is to educate everybody on our grievance process. And like Mance had said, evidence must be presented. It is given to them and they investigate it. They all do investigate it their own way, but they are charged to investigate it. If they find out that their the complaints or the misconduct or other acts of the member is valid, they are to request the chairman to call a special meeting for the general counsel to determine on that BC member what happens to them. If the chairman refuses to call that special meeting, then it is handed over to the Commissioner of Indian Affairs or their authorized representative to call the special meeting. Another way that can happen is the business committee has the opportunity to request that special general counsel. There are two words. One is may, which is the first one, saying that the chairman may. It's not forced. But the second one with the BC requesting it is a shall, and it is enforced. So if the chairman fails, then the BC can come together and request that special general counsel, and it must take place. So thank you. There is the petition process listed in our election ordinance, yes.
Okay, it's me again. My question is, if you've heard the audio, don't you think any of you guys feel like that he could say the same thing to you or about you? I mean, really, my little brother, he was killed and dumped over a bridge. In about 2012, 13, I believe. So what Zach Turley said, I just think it's ridiculous. I don't think there should be any weight on any of it. Just, I mean, for your guys' safety too. I mean, unless I don't know if you guys are a lot closer than he is to my brother or whatever, but still, he should be moved immediately. I mean, and on top of that, he has other problems or grievances against him. So I don't know. He should be removed right now. Or he should be, yeah, something, instead of him just not being here in the chair.
He's on Zoom.
Well, what do you got to say, Mr. Turley?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm not going to make many comments on it because it is an open investigation. But I will say I have apologized to Callie and Michelle over this issue, the things that I said. And I have, I reached out to Tink yesterday. I don't have Jeremy's phone number. I talked to Tink yesterday and apologized to him and asked him to please get me in contact with Jeremy so I can talk to him about this situation. I do want to say that conversation was illegally recorded without my permission or my consent.
So that means
that was a private conversation. I'm not defending anything that was said or any of that. I'm just saying that was illegally obtained and it was illegally distributed out. So,
but
at this time, that's my comments. I apologize for that. I'm human. You know,
and you can just.
I've had a lot of things said about me on Facebook. I know the rest of the business committee has. We've been cussed. We've been talked to.
I'm just talking about you.
I don't know. I don't want to get into any of that.
Right.
John Landrum, 1832. Forgot that? Where is that guy? I'll go visit him. Is that where he's at? From the phone, his address? I'll find out.
Linda? Linda.
Yeah, I had several people coming to me ask if I didn't know who it was, and honestly, I just felt like somebody. I had several people come and say, "Hey, can we do something about this?" I said, "I don't know." So I just right exactly, but I just figured it was a respectful thing to at least ask. So, but you didn't, so that's okay. That's your respect as well. So.
So at this time, I'd like to get back on track and get open forum. We're still in open forum.
Good morning once again, Linda Davis. I understand that it has been turned over for an internal investigation, and Zach, you have mentioned that it was recorded illegally. However, are you openly stating that you made those comments based upon the fact that you reached out to individuals to apologize? And with that being said, and an internal investigation, will our marshals seek, if necessary, and I feel should be necessary, Zach has openly stating apologies, seeking out for those apologies, will you inquire and us as tribal members demand that a voice recognition specialist, even though Zach has openly admitted, just for confirmation of the internal report to not reflect any bias?
Who is your question directed to?
Both business committee and marshals.
I'm unsure of your question, honestly, other than will we commit to something?
Okay, when you have stated that there is an internal, this recording, audio recording has been turned over to the marshals. Has it been turned over to the marshals? Who is our internal investigation going to be? Who's going to lead that investigation?
The marshals.
Okay.
The marshals. Absent, and not including the BC or any other entity.
Okay, then I am turning directly to the marshals, and Charlie, to you as a tribal member, and Zach stating that it was illegally recorded. However, he has also stated that he has reached out accordingly to apologize to Callie and Michelle, as well as Tink Smith to reach out to Tink's brother-in-law, Jeremy, who part of this recording pertains to. Are you or the department who does this investigation to eliminate any bias, should it be there or not be there, intentional or unintentional? Will you seek voice recognition specialist, technician, however they are labeled? I do not know that terminology. To the validity one way or the other of how this investigation goes. And then that will be brought back to us as the general council, as members of the tribe.
I'm not going to go into details on the investigation, of course, because we can't, because it still is an open investigation. But I can tell you we've already verified the people that's voices are on the recording. We've already done that. We've already talked to all the people's that's voices are on the recording. We've already done that. So, like I say, I can't go into details of the investigation. It is still ongoing. There's a lot of things going on with it right now. But what I can tell you is we've already talked to all the people that's voices are on that recording. And I think someone mentioned it earlier. We've talked to all of those folks, and none of the people on the recording recorded it or consented to the recording, which in turn makes the recording an illegal recording based upon federal and state law. So that's all I can say about it right now. Illegal.
Anything else, Linda?
This is rather light in comparison. I would like to see about funds from the general revenue to purchase new chairs for in here, as well as a table cart.
We'll have to talk to our and a new microphone.
I don't know if it's working.
There we go. Good recommendation. I think it's overdue.
The last I knew, they were already getting them purchased, so, or they were getting ready to get it purchased, new chairs, because they are nasty looking too. I agree.
Anybody else? Whoever has the mic.
My name is Joe K. Dowd. First, I just would like to say to everyone, when we come into forums like this with any grievances, we do no good by calling one another names, ridiculing and degrading. Situation, what we've seen within our tribe over the last 23 or 4 years now, is a situation of just bullying, entitlement. It's gone on so long that our people, I think our whole system has just become ineffective. And unfortunately, that's a condition throughout Indian country. We have been so shaped by white man's political parties, Christianity, Yellowstone. I think listening to that tape, it's like somebody's watching too much Yellowstone. That's not who we are. And if our tribe has become so ineffective, we saw it with our business committee, when everyone worked for the tribe, nothing got done, nothing got handled. And now we've got 2/3 of our grievance committee working for the tribe. So I doubt that's going to change much. Problem is, we don't think about our tribe as we talk it. I hear it a lot. Family, we're a tribe, we're a nation, but no, we're not really. And when it becomes ineffective, there are ways to handle it outside of the tribe. So, all of you have been put in a position, and I hate this word, power. It's ridiculous. You know, look at an international scale. Look at the natural world, and you'll really be able to see how much power each one of you has, really. So I'm just going to say, after hearing that, we're talking about corruption. We're talking about murder. And we're talking about it coming from a person who's been accused of other alleged indecency and crimes. So I'm just going to say I've worked throughout Indian country, and when I say Indian country, I'm talking from the Arctic Circle to Tierra del Fuego. And if this can't be handled in an appropriate manner, then we'll just have to take it outside, whatever that means. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Years ago in the longhouse, that's how they did it. They all sit around that little bitty building over there, made their greetings right there. Who remembers that? I do. I was a kid, a little girl. But that's how they talked. They talked about each family right there. You didn't have to go, oh, well, let me over here, let me see. They talked about power. They complain about each other. Talk about one another. Just like you guys talk about one another. Nobody likes, I don't care. I got a mouth, and I'm going to speak for myself. Whether you like it or whether you not, I'm going to vote. I'm going to be for the people. One day I'm going to get old. I want to be able to say, this is how it's going to be. They got money now. They got power. So now they think, oh, well, doing their job. They abuse. You got people working for the tribe, yet they're on a committee. That's double dipping. Why don't you get people in the community that's not working for the tribe so they can see how the tribe really being run? But these young ones coming in here, they need to be brought in. My daughter comes to me all the time. Now we still got the old people still being voted in. And they ain't teaching the young ones anything.
I'm gonna have to interject on that because in the last, well, not just that, we're supposed to end at 11. So we've started, when you talk about the youth not having opportunities, we just heard from our librarian how we're having a STEAM fair with the most participants we've ever had. We're increasing our scholarship monies. We've created a tribal youth council, and we're getting together to create an internship program for all of our organizations. So I think that as elected officials, we're all doing the best we can up here. We were elected to do a job, and we're doing it to the best of our abilities. Did I hear you correctly? You wanted to maybe volunteer for a committee? Okay. Well, I think we've reached the end of open
One
forum
last thing
in the
I would
agenda.
just like to ask. I mean, I don't know the process that by which Jeremy resigned or by which Thomas resigned. And I know there isn't really anything outlined in our governing resolution, but I don't think it's beyond the BC's authority that if this voice recognition has been verified, to ask Zach for his resignation. I don't think it's beyond your scope, given the nature of the comments, to actually take a vote, whether you want to do that on a different day or a closed forum or session or whatever. I don't think it's beyond the business committee's scope to ask Zach for his resignation, since it has been legally verified.
I don't disagree with your statement, Mans. And I think that while that process is going on, and the BC has received the audio message, it's been discussed amongst the BC. So it's not like we're making the decision not to do anything. And what you're talking about will continue to be discussed. So again, this is something that has not been taken lightly. We did the right thing by putting it into the hands of our law enforcement. We're respecting the process, and we have yet to make a determination. So, just want to say that. We have a memorial dinner directly after this, and they need to set up the room. So out of respect for that family, we're ending open forum. Michelle, would you care to pray for us?
Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you that we can come together, Lord. Today, I just know this is by no means an easy job. I know, Lord, I can truly stand before you and our general counsel, Lord, to say that we are doing the very best that we can under many circumstances. We don't take things lightly. Lord, you know our hearts, our intentions, and we ask, Lord, that you continue to guide and direct us in the way, Lord, that we want to lead our nation. I thank you, Lord, for each one that's here. I pray, Lord, that those that aren't here for whatever reason, Lord, those that are sick, Lord, those that are hurting, those that have lost loved ones, Lord, and just as those, this family today that's having this memorial dinner that's lost their loved one, I just pray that you wrap your arms around them. I know there are many hurting. And I just ask, Lord, that you help, Lord, as each one leaves today, you give them safe traveling mercies. In your name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Michelle.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.